We are drafting another mock draft here for you guys today. This is a Dynasty rookie Superflex tight end premium mock draft. We're going to say it's a +1 tight end premium, which means if you play in half PPR, tight ends are getting 1.5 per reception. And if you play in full PPR, tight ends are getting 2 per reception. So pretty significant there. But again, once again, it's a 12-team Dynasty Superflex tight end premium rookie mock draft. And just so you guys know, let me move myself here. We are using landing spots. I will leave the link in the description for you guys. It is the latest PFF 3-round mock draft. This is post free agency, so I wanted to do something a little updated with free agency landing spots. Again, I'll leave the link in the description, but I will also kind of be talking about the landing spots as we go through. We're going to try and do 3 rounds here. So we're going to get this kicked off here, starting off at the first pick. You know, all offseason up until now, I've been kind of on the bandwagon of on the side of, to me, there was 3 players in tier 1, Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Jaden Daniels, and I can see any one of the 3 going. I think that's changed for me. I think I've eliminated Jaden Daniels from that tier. And to me, it's either Caleb Williams or Marvin Harrison Jr. I can still see the argument for Marvin Harrison Jr. But I've eliminated Jaden Daniels just because of what the Bears have done for Caleb Williams. Like, they have DJ Moore, they have Keenan Allen, you have Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett, 2 good tight ends. You still could potentially draft someone at the 109, either an offensive lineman or a wide receiver. They also have DeAndre Swift, Roschon Johnson on the roster. They're just stacked on offense. So he's coming into a wonderful, amazing situation. In this mock draft, he does go to the Bears. Now it gets a little interesting. This is, to me, where the draft gets really interesting, especially with how this mock draft kind of played out. So the first 4 picks in this PFF mock draft were quarterbacks. Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, and J.J. McCarthy. The Vikings traded up to take J.J. McCarthy. Marvin Harrison Jr. goes 105 to the Chargers. This is where it gets tough to me. I'm going to lean, because of the rushing ability of him, I'm going to lean Jaden Daniels. I'm not saying it's the right pick, but man, there's about 4 players. To me, you can make an argument for Drake May, Jaden Daniels, McCarthy, Marvin Harrison, even a Rome Odunze, if you truly believe in him over Marvin Harrison. I think that's still a little bit too, out of the question for me. It's Marvin Harrison Jr. to me is a step above those guys, but there's rumors going around that Malik Neighbors could be the first receiver taken in this draft. I wonder how that's going to affect Dynasty rookie drafts. But I'm going to go with Jaden Daniels. He goes to the Patriots in this draft class. It's not the same old Patriots necessarily. I know they don't have a whole lot of weapons there, but that probably leads even more into him running more. So for fantasy, I'm going to take Jaden Daniels here. Next, man, it's so hard. I will go Marvin Harrison Jr., but again, what I want to do, honestly, if I have like 102 or 103, I want to trade back. I want to trade back to like the 105 and just be like, okay, I'll take whatever quarterback or, Marvin Harrison Jr. falls to me. I'll take one of the, if this is how the draft's going to play out. Again, Marvin Harrison Jr. goes 105 to the Chargers. I'll take that. Obviously, Justin Herbert's there. You have a good quarterback. Maybe they don't have huge passing volume, but go back and look at some of those San Francisco teams when Harbaugh was the coach and Greg Roman was there. They still put up fantasy relevant receivers. Anquan Bolden, Michael Crabtree, guys like that. So just because they're going to run the ball a lot doesn't mean there can't be a fantasy relevant receiver there. And Marvin Harrison Jr. is special, right? So, and he has maybe the best passing quarterback that Harbaugh's ever had, Justin Herbert. So, yeah, man, but it's just what I want to do. If the draft plays out this way, first 6 picks are offensive players, first 4 picks are quarterbacks, and then it's Marvin Harrison Jr. and actually Rome Odunze at the 106. I want to trade back if I can. I really do. And just be happy at the 105 or 106, pick up an extra piece, a first. If someone wants to trade you a first in 2025 to move from the 3 to the 6, I'll do that. And I'll be happy, as you'll see, who's going to drop. Next up, guys, man, again, you can make a case for so many players here. I'm going to go J.J. McCarthy. I'm going to go JJ McCarthy. He goes 104 to the Vikings. And the biggest reason is on the Vikings, right? He gets to throw the ball to Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, Aaron Jones is there. You have Kevin O'Connell is an awesome head coach. The offensive system's going to produce. Nick Mullins was like a top 12 quarterback. Joshua Dobbs was a top 12 quarterback. JJ McCarthy is falling into even a better position or spot, in my opinion, than Caleb Williams. So that's what makes this so hard to me. With these quarterbacks, especially Drake May, Jaden Daniels, and JJ McCarthy, to me, you can make an argument for any one of them. You really can. So Jaden Daniels with the rushing ability for fantasy. JJ McCarthy, if he goes to the Vikings, is in maybe the best situation. Drake May, a lot of people think could be the best quarterback in this draft. I will take Drake May here. I know Roma Dunze is sitting there. Malik Neighbors is still there. Superflex, man, quarterbacks are just way too valuable, in my opinion. Just look at CJ Stroud. Look at any Dynasty startup draft. How many quarterbacks go before the wide receiver 1 overall, before Justin Jefferson or CeeDee Lamb or whoever you have as the wide receiver 1? There's at least 6 or 7 quarterbacks taken first, and there should be at least in Dynasty Superflex startup drafts. 6 quarterbacks taken, 7 quarterbacks taken, and then the first couple receivers go, and then there's maybe 4 or 5 other quarterbacks that go and before like the wide receiver 4 goes. They're just way too valuable. You look at like CJ Stroud, he's way more valuable than any position player in Dynasty football. He's more valuable in Superflex than just Justin Jefferson because he's a quarterback, young, that looks good. So they're just too valuable to pass up. So the top 4 quarterbacks go. Again, Drake May does go 102 to the Commanders. And again, like if I'm looking at this, guys, I'm fine with any of these 5 players, any of these 4 players, Daniels, Harrison, McCarthy, May. If I have the 102, I'll trade back to the 105. You give me another first-round pick for next year, I'm happy with whatever falls to me, right? Even at the 106, I'm probably still happy here. How this draft played out was Odunze goes to the Giants at 106. Malik Neighbors goes to the Bears at 109. For that reason, if it does play out this way, I think I lean Odunze. I don't think Odunze is that far off from Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr. He gets into a way better situation in terms of being the alpha receiver. Now, you can argue he doesn't have as good of a quarterback as Malik Neighbors because Daniel Jones, but we'll see what the Giants do at the quarterback position. I'll lean Odunze here, even though I'm a huge Malik Neighbors fan. Like, again, I think the rumors of him being potentially the first receiver taken are kind of warranted. He does things that Marvin Harrison can't do in terms of his explosiveness and speed. Marvin Harrison is really, don't get me wrong, the guy's a complete receiver. He has it all. Malik Neighbors is a little undersized, which is fine for today's NFL, but he does things that Marvin Harrison can't do. And so now coming up next with the next pick, it is a question of should Brock Bowers be going or Malik Neighbors? I don't necessarily think there's a wrong answer here. You can go off positional need. Like, oh, I really need a tight end. My wide receiver room's stacked. I'm going to go Bowers. And again, this is tight end premium. If it's a half PPR league and tight ends are getting 1.5, that's 3 times the amount they're getting per reception compared to receivers. I would lean Bowers. If it's full PPR, it makes it a little closer because now instead of 3 times, it's double, right? Tight ends are getting double what receivers are getting. Again, I don't think there's a wrong answer here. I'm just going to put Malik Neighbors and then Brock Bowers. I don't want to spend too much time talking about it. There's no right or wrong answer. You can go on positional need. You can even, again, trade back if you want to and fall in the 108. This one, man, these first 8 picks, we're talking about the first 8 picks in this draft, guys, are top 15 picks in the NFL draft, which is insane. You think about who was going at the 108 last year, it was like Quentin Johnston, Zay Flowers, good players or good draft capital, but they were picked in the early 20s, right? So this draft class is absolutely stacked. But yeah, Brock Bowers, if he goes to the Colts in this draft, as I said, Neighbors goes to the Bears. So, crowded receiver room, at least for one more year with Keenan Allen and DJ Moore, but he could easily be the best receiver on that team come year 2. Bowers goes 115 to the Colts. So like that landing spot, I think he's the number 2 target for Anthony Richardson and the Colts. So Really like that landing spot there. So that's the first 8 picks. Again, this seems to be in Superflex leagues the consensus top 8. Maybe another receiver sneaks in there if you want to. The direction I'm going to go next is another quarterback here. 5 quarterbacks. Again, they're just super, super valuable. At the 109, to be getting a first-round quarterback, Bo Nix, who went 22 overall, 22nd overall to the Broncos. To be getting a quarterback that's drafted in the first round at the 109, I'm super happy with. I'm super, super excited with. I think it's going to play out this way, guys. I think there's going to be a 5th quarterback taken in the top 15 to 20. Definitely in the first round, in my opinion. Someone's going to either trade back up, or one of these teams in the mid teens or early 20s are going to take a chance on probably Bo Nix. So, that's just an awesome landing spot for the Broncos. He could be the quarterback from day one. Sean Payton still kind of trusts him as an offensive guy. They need to get more weapons in there. Obviously, they're going to be struggling a little bit for the cap situation, but I think year 2 of Bo Nix in the Broncos system you're going to look at probably a top 15 or so-ish quarterback, which has value in Superflex. So next up, we got 3 receivers taken in the first round. I like all of them. There's one of them I like the most, but I am going to lean towards another player, even though he's my second rated out of these 3 taken in the first round. I'm going to go with Brian Thomas here. Brian Thomas goes 28th overall to the Bills. Okay. I take him over Adonai Mitchell, who goes 17th overall to the Jags. And I take him over Xavier Worthy, who's actually my favorite out of these 3, who goes 30th to the Ravens. And it's a little bit because of landing spot, which I don't always like to just draft off. If I believe in a guy over another one, I heavily believe in that player over another receiver, I'll always tend to lean. Like Garrett Wilson, for example, a lot of people were passing up on him in that draft because, he go into the Jets. They don't like it. I knew Garrett Wilson, or I felt like Garrett Wilson was the best receiver in the draft. So even though he had not the best landing spot, I was okay with it. I was okay with taking him. Now, the reason why I'm taking Brian Thomas over Xavier Worthy, who I like more, is because, 1, I don't think it's that far off. 2, I think if I had to bet on someone between Brian Thomas and Xavier Worthy to be, over the next 5 years, this player is going to be wide receiver 17, 20, 24, in that range for the next 5 years. If I had to put all my life savings on one of them, I would lean Brian Thomas because I think he has a skill set that teams covet. The big receiver, downfield threat, kind of like a T. Higgins. I don't know if he can ever develop into like a dominant alpha receiver, or if he's just going to be like the perfect 1B for a team. And he goes to the Bills here. Obviously, Josh Allen, I think it fits perfectly with Josh Allen's arm and ability to pass the ball downfield. Stephon Diggs is still on the team as of now, and he can kind of be the 1B or 2 on the team, which takes the pressure off him, at least in year 1. So I like that landing spot a lot. Next, I will go Xavier Worthy here. Even though, again, Adonai Mitchell is sitting there, he's drafted 17th overall. I'm going to lean Xavier Worthy. I've been a Worthy fan for a long, long time. Ever since I saw his first year at Texas, where he was an 18-year-old dominating the production in the passing game for the Longhorns. So I love that he obviously the speed at the combine is a cherry on top. The guy's really, really fast. That doesn't mean anything, but he's not just a speed guy. The guy is always open. You look at his routes run, he's always 5 yards away from the next defender. That's because of his route running ability. He's been used as more of a short passing game, more of a deep threat. He's been used as both. I think he's just a complete receiver. And yeah, the size is a little concerning. It always is, but today's NFL, we can get past that, right? We can get past the size issue. So next I will take, by the way, Worthy, like I said, did go 30th overall to the Ravens. Not my favorite spot, just because Ravens have proven they don't produce top 12 receivers. Zay Flowers is already there. I think Worthy can be better than Flowers, but I also think they complement each other very, very well. So I'm not disrespecting Flowers or anything. I think they just complement each other really well. Like Worthy can be more of that field stretcher maybe, whereas Flowers is, over the middle, taking carries, things like that. But again, I don't think Xavier Worthy is just a deep threat guy. I think he's a complete receiver, and I really, really like him. So I will draft the last first round skill position player or fantasy relevant player, which is Adonai Mitchell, again from Texas. 2 Texas players in the first round, receivers in the first round. Super fast. He ran in the 4.3s, I believe. He goes to the Jags, 17th overall. Really nice landing spot. I think he comes in and he's probably the best receiver on the team. Christian Kirk's a perfect complement to him. Adonai Mitchell doesn't have to be necessarily the dominant alpha, but he can be. He gets pairs with Trevor Lawrence, a good quarterback. So if you're sitting at the 112 and you get a receiver that was drafted 17th overall in the NFL draft, holy crap, like the value of the first round, guys. All these picks in the first round of a Dynasty rookie mock draft were first round picks in the NFL draft, according to this PFF mock. So that is freaking awesome. Moving along here, I'm going to go with a receiver that I really like, that I kind of had as my potential wide receiver 4 in this draft class. I think I've soured, maybe dropped him to like 5 or 6 at this point. Not soured, but, there's where he's being mocked, some of the combine stuff. Anyways, it's Troy Franklin. I love Troy Franklin. I think he can be a complete dominant receiver. There's a couple of receivers that were drafted ahead of him in this mock. If you're looking at it, Troy Franklin goes second in the second round, 48th overall to the Chiefs. Now, I'm not just drafting him because he's on the Chiefs. I really liked Troy Franklin. I think compared to the other guys drafted ahead of him, Ladd McConkey, Ricky Pearsall, to me, those guys have a kind of a safer floor, but I don't know if they have the ceiling that Franklin has. So I think Franklin could develop into like an alpha for a team. He goes to the Chiefs. A little bit crowded now with Kelsey, Marquise Brown, and Rashee Rice, but maybe he doesn't do a whole lot his first year. Obviously, injuries can happen. And Rashee Rice and Marquise Brown, I don't think are alpha, clear-cut number 1 guys. And so there's a chance for him to develop into the best receiver on the Chiefs, maybe in year 2. Also, Marquise Brown has signed a 1-year contract. So I'm not too worried about it's a little bit crowded of a receiver room. A lot can change. So next up here, I'm going to take another quarterback, Michael Penix Jr. He goes to the Raiders in the second round, 44th overall. And again, the value of quarterbacks are just way too valuable. If I'm sitting here and I'm not really looking at like trying to pay too much attention to what did I do in round 1, but the 202 here to get a quarterback that was drafted in the top 45 in the NFL draft. Think about where Will Levis was going in Dynasty Superflexes last year. He's kind of a fringe first round pick. You're getting a quarterback here, Michael Penix, who's going to the Raiders. He can probably sit for a year, which is fine. He probably needs to sit behind, watch Gardner Minshew. Maybe they put him in at the end of the season, or if Minshew gets hurt. I'm not super excited about him going to the Raiders just because I don't know what their plan is offensively necessarily. But I can't deny the fact that he's going to probably be their starting quarterback as early as 2024, but for sure by 2025. So I know they paid Gardner Minshew good money, but maybe he's just more of the bridge quarterback for them. Next up on the slate here, I'm going to go with Ladd McConkey. I like Ladd McConkey a lot. His combine was awesome. I was surprised he ran a 4.39. Really, really good speed. You look at his production, it's not quite there, right? He didn't have huge numbers at Georgia. He had good numbers, but not huge numbers. Kind of banged up, I believe, this last year. But man, you just watch the guy and it's like, damn, this guy's really, really good. Really good. Like, holy crap. Just watch some of his tape and you'll see what I'm talking about. The guy is good. And my only issue with Ladd McConkey is, well, one, the team he goes to and the system he's in. Can he be a dominant top receiver? He might just be a safe a safe flex play, a safe bench piece on your team? Can he turn into kind of an alpha receiver, or even a really good wide receiver 2 for a team? Or is he kind of served best as like, a wide receiver 3 on a team? I don't know, but he goes to the Patriots in this draft. They obviously pair him with Jaden Daniels. I think right away he's in competition to be the best receiver on that team. So I like that. I like that. Next up here. Man, this is tough. Do I want to go running back now? No, I'm not going to go running back now. I'm going to go another receiver that I'm pretty excited about, and I like watching his tape. Ricky Pearsall. Where is he? Ricky Pearsall goes 35th overall, so a fringe first-round pick. He goes to the Cardinals. Now, remember, the Cardinals did not take Marvin Harrison Jr. in this draft. So he comes in. He's immediately going to be in competition to be the best receiver on that team. He has a good quarterback in Kyler Murray. Now you have a pretty good offense on that team with Trey McBride, Ricky Pearsall if he pans out, Kyler Murray hopefully healthy. Michael Wilson's still there, who's maybe a good 2. So I like the landing spot for Pearsall in terms of, I can see him getting a lot of production. He's another player where you just watch, you're just like, damn, this guy's pretty fun to watch. Like, he makes amazing catches. Good size at 6'1", was very productive his last 3 years at school. So I believe those were all at Florida. And I think he might have played with Jaden Daniels at Arizona State, but I don't remember exactly. But Ricky Pearsall, I will take here. Now where do I go? Okay, I think I'm still going to go another receiver here, guys. I'm going to go with a guy that has red flags to me, Xavier Legette. But man, if he pans out, like, he could be awesome. Like, his ceiling is maybe higher than like anyone in this draft class besides, the top few guys. But we're talking about these guys drafted, even the guys drafted in like the mid first to early second. His ceiling, Xavier Legette's ceiling, might be the highest of all. His floor might be the lowest of all as well, which is concerning. In this draft, he goes 39th overall, so top 40 draft pick, which is kind of key. You look at the statistics, and a lot of people say, I want a receiver drafted in the first round. There's not a whole lot of difference in terms of fantasy players that become productive fantasy players between guys drafted like 20th to 40th, right? Even though one's in the first round, some are in the first, some are in the second. There's not a whole lot of difference between there. Xavier Legette, man, the guy's just a physical freak. He is huge. He's fast. He was highly, highly productive his last year in college, but only his last year in college. And it just doesn't make sense to me. The guy did nothing, like nothing, his first 4 years in college. And he was at South Carolina the first 4 years. It's not like he was at Alabama or Texas or Clemson behind all these like stud receivers, right? It's not like he's at Ohio State where he was behind Olave and Garrett Wilson and JSN and Marvin Harrison Jr., right? Where I can see why he didn't get the production. I think I went back and looked. I think there was one South Carolina receiver that was drafted anywhere in the entire draft since Xavier Legette's been at South Carolina. And I'm just like, why in the world could this guy not get on the field? And it's concerning. I know he was extremely productive. He accounted for 35% of South Carolina's passing offense. 35% is a huge number. But he did that as a 23-year-old. And that's a red flag, guys. Breakout age is pretty important for receivers because it's a lot easier for a receiver who's had going into his 5th year in college, 5 years of experience, who's 23 years old, going up against a bunch of 19 and 20-year-olds who are playing, their first or second year in college. Why couldn't he get on the field? I just don't understand it. I know he played quarterback for his high school team at the end there, but that was more because their quarterback in his high school team got hurt, and they just put the best athlete as quarterback. It wasn't that he was a quarterback coming out of high school. He just played it his last year. I don't understand why he did. So there's a lot of red flags there to me, but I can't deny the ceiling potential of Xavier Legette. He gets to a good landing spot with the Panthers here. And he can immediately be the tight end one, or sorry, the wide receiver one for Bryce Young. So I was trying to Deontay Johnson. I was like, who do the Panthers get? Deontay Johnson is there. Adam Thielen's there. Xavier Legette, if he is what he can be, is the best receiver on that team. No questions about it. Next up, guys, I'm gonna take a running back here. It's the only running back that's drafted in the first 2 rounds in this PFF mock draft. It is Jonathan Brooks out of Texas. He goes 56th overall to the Cowboys. So that's an awesome landing spot. Now, he tore his ACL in November. If he didn't tear his ACL in November, I think he's kind of the clear-cut number 1 running back in this draft class. But he did tear his ACL. And so that is a concern, because are you getting a redshirt year? Are you getting a year where he doesn't do much? Is he going to be ready by the beginning of the season? If he is, he has the perfect opportunity. All the Cowboys have like Rico Dowdle and no one else on the team. If he's not ready, you may be getting a bit of a redshirt year, which is tough for running backs to ask for, because, man, his value is going to drop. It just is, his value is going to drop. So, Jonathan Brooks, though, I'll take a chance, assume he's going to be ready. I like the landing spot for him there, and I'll roll with it. Next up, I'm going to take a player that I'm intrigued by. There's still multiple second round picks here. I'm going to take Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman is intriguing. They did the gauntlet drill at the combine where you're running and you're catching passes from both sides. He didn't run very well in the 40. He ran a 4.6, I believe, which is concerning for a receiver. But then his gauntlet drill he ran the fastest clocked miles per hour at the gauntlet drill. And usually that translates a bit to NFL. Puka Nacua, for example, was the same guy in 2023 combine, was the guy who clocked the fastest miles per hour. So I'd rather see that he has elite speed when actually catching passes, right? Rather than just running straight for 40 yards. I'm not too worried. Obviously we want to see a pretty good number in the 40-yard time. Just double checking. Yeah, he ran a 4.61. His 10-yard split was pretty good though, at 1.54. So that's pretty good. That shows he has good burst. But yeah, maybe he doesn't have the long speed. Keon Coleman in this draft, he goes 59th overall to the Texans. So obviously he goes in there. He's probably next year the wide receiver 3 for the team behind Nico Collins and Tank Dell. But he gets paired with CJ Stroud. He's going to get a chance to show what he's got. If he's the best receiver on the team, they're going to play him. Nico Collins isn't guaranteed to be on the Texans after 2024 because they're going to have to pay him, and maybe they don't want to pay him a bunch of money. Maybe this is their way of kind of pre-preparing for that. Like, all right, we're going to take a receiver a year before we actually need one because one of them fell to us in the draft, and then we're going to move on from Nico Collins or whatever. Maybe Tank Dell can't stay healthy. There's a lot that can change in a year. Keon Coleman's interesting to me, so I'll take him here. Okay, and then next up, we're going to take another receiver. Again, you're still getting receivers drafted in the second round, which is amazing. I feel like this time last year, we were drafting third, fourth round picks, around this range. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong there, but Jalen Polk out of Washington, he goes to the Eagles, 50th overall. Another situation where I don't expect too much from him in year one, behind Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Devontae Parker they also brought in as well, and obviously Dallas Goedert. But there's a path to me in 2025 for Jalen Polk, assuming no injuries. There's a path. I like Jalen Polk. I like his film. I think he's a solid, good player. Probably best as like a wide receiver 2, in my opinion. But you never know. Those guys can develop into wide receiver 1s. You just you watch his tape and he's just, this guy's a solid, good receiver, So I like that from him. And yeah, I don't expect too much from him in 2024, but a lot can change. AJ Brown, if the Eagles kind of flare out a little bit, AJ Brown maybe no longer on the team after 2024. Devontae Smith, they got to pay here soon, right? What was he, 2020 draft? So they got to pay him soon, or was he 2021? I don't remember. But they got to pay him soon. Maybe they're, priced out of him a little bit and they roll with Jalen Polk. So I see a path for him here. So I'm fine with taking him. And then I'll take the last second round pick here. There's 2 more second round picks. A guy that I'm intrigued by as well, and that is Roman Wilson. Roman Wilson in this draft goes 54th overall to the Browns. Another player that I don't necessarily see doing much in 2024. He's going to be behind Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, and maybe even Elijah Mitchell. They have David Njoku there. But the fact of the matter is he could beat out Elijah Mitchell if he's just better. Amari Cooper is getting older. I know they signed Jerry Jeudy to a contract, but there's a path for Roman Wilson. I think he's best served as a wide receiver 2 for a team. This team's probably going to pass the ball a lot. I could see a path for him in 2025 being the wide receiver 2 for the Browns. So I'll take him here. I like him as well. He runs like a 4.39. He always gets open, so he's getting a lot of hype lately. Next up, I'm going to take another tight end here. This is actually a 3rd round pick, Jatavion Sanders, who's kind of the clear-cut tight end 2 in this draft class. He comes out of Texas. Again, this is a tight end premium, +1 tight end premium. He is the 3rd round pick, early 3rd round pick, 65th overall to the Panthers. So that's intriguing. He's automatically, to me, their best receiving tight end. They did take Xavier Legette in this draft class, but he could, be the 3rd option for this team. Again, it's tight end premium. I can see him developing into maybe the 2nd option on this team. He's very, very talented. Very talented. I think he has a really good chance of being a step above just like those meh tight ends, like those streaming tight ends, like that are, 50 catches, 600 yards, and 5 touchdowns. I think he can get to like the Njoku kind of range of like 700-800 yards, maybe 60-70 catches, somewhere around there. So I like Jatavion Sanders. I'll grab him here. And then I'm going to reach a little bit. I'm going to pass up a couple guys that are drafted ahead of him. I'm going to take Malachi Corley, another player that he's a hard evaluation, in my opinion. A very hard evaluation because he gets so many behind the line of scrimmage passes, and you just can't evaluate those. Like his yards after the catch is awesome. I really like his tape. I think he could be used in the right system pretty creatively. Handoffs, jet sweeps, pop passes, screen passes. He could just be one of those players that kind of does it all. And he could potentially be a little bit more than that. In this draft, in this mock draft, he goes 72nd overall to the Jets. Now, I think this was made before the Jets made the move for Mike Williams, but either way, Jets need help at the receiver position. Before Mike Williams, it was Garrett Wilson and like no one. Now they got Mike Williams there. The dude's never been able to stay healthy. Malachi Corley, I think, complements, even if he is healthy, he complements both Mike Williams and Garrett Wilson. He complements both of them nicely. He can be that 3rd option that does all the other stuff in the slot. So I'll take Malachi Corley here. And then to finish up the 3rd round, I'm actually going to take a running back that I really like, and that is Trey Benson. I think he's my running back 1 in this draft class. Now, I did take Brooks over him because Brooks went about 40 picks ahead of Jonathan Brooks. Brooks went to a nicer landing spot, in my opinion, with the Cowboys. Trey Benson goes 95th overall. 95th overall to the Chiefs. I know Isaiah Pacheco's there. This could be the Chiefs preparing for potentially losing Pacheco in a year or so. They're just taking the best value there. Is Trey Benson just better than Pacheco? I don't know. There's a lot of things they could use both of them. I like Trey Benson. Not the greatest landing spot, in my opinion, because of the Pacheco situation. But I think he's the best running back in this draft class. He has it all. He has the size and the speed. He's like 220, 215. I think he's between 215 and 220, and he runs in the 4.3s, which is kind of unheard of. He can catch the ball. He can kind of do it all. So I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of like overtakes Pacheco as the best running back on the team. Coming back up, there's actually still a second-round pick that I didn't take, and I'll be completely honest with you. I don't know. It's not that I don't know about Javon Baker out of Central Florida, I believe. It's that when I watched his tape for the first time, I was kind of like, solid player. You know, I could see him being like a wide receiver 3 at best. I wasn't really excited about him. But in this mock draft, the PFF one, he goes 63rd overall. He's a second-round pick. He goes to the 49ers. Again, if the 49ers stay as they are, probably not doing anything in 2024. But Ayuk is going to be up for a contract. Deebo Samuel, I forget when his contract's up, but, Deebo Samuel will probably still be there. But Javon Baker has a chance, an outside chance, to be the wide receiver 2 for the 49ers in 2025. If they're taking him 63rd overall, they think he can be that, right? And so he's going to have a chance to do that by 2025. So I need to go back and look at more Javon Baker, to be honest, and see what, PFF see. I've seen it in several mock drafts where Javon Baker is going in the second round. So I need to go back and watch and reevaluate that. Moving along here, we're in the third round now. I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to take a chance on a receiver that I really like. Another Washington receiver, which is the third one here. Jalen McMillan is a little bit flying under the radar, in my opinion, just from the general, Dynasty community. I really like Jalen McMillan. He dealt with some injuries last year, but man, you just watch him, you're like, damn, this guy's pretty damn good. And no one's really talking about him because of Rome Odunze and Jalen Polk, right? But he produced his first couple years where he was getting playing time in college. He was kind of hurt last year, kind of the third option when he came back, but he broke out at a good age. He has good, solid speed. He runs a 4.47. He runs a 1.53 in the 10-yard split. His vertical and broad jump are pretty nice. He has the hands and the arm length, and he's just productive in college. His drop rate was a little high at 8.1, but you can fix that. So I'm going to take Jalen McMillan here. He goes to the Raiders, 77th overall. So again, if the Raiders stay put, he's probably the wide receiver 3 at best. But we're talking about an older Devontae Adams. Jacoby Myers is a nice receiver, and I like him, and he's probably the wide receiver 2 because of his experience in 2024, but Jalen McMillan just could be better than Jacoby Myers, and by year 2, he could be the alpha for the Raiders. So, you pair him with Michael Penix, by the way, who the Raiders drafted, so you get the quarterback wide receiver combo in college onto the Raiders, so I'll take a chance there. Another player, I'm gonna take a shot on another guy that's intriguing. I don't know what to think about him, to be honest. That's Devontae Walker. A lot of people are very high on him. A lot of people are a little bit lower on him. I'm kind of in the middle here. He's another player where he dominated at Kent State, but then I watch him at North Carolina and just kind of like, okay, I'm not like, holy crap, this guy's amazing, but man, the production's there. His career dominator percentage is 41%. He is a little bit older. He didn't do it till he's 21 years old, but he's fast. He ran a 4.36. He's tall. He's like 6'2", 200 pounds. So he has the size. He has the athleticism to be good. There are a couple red flags there where I'm not convinced he is going to be good, but he, in this draft, goes to the Bengals at 80th overall. So you think about the Bengals situation. You have Joe Burrow, which is obviously awesome. Tyler Boyd is gone. I don't know if he signed anywhere, but I'm pretty sure Tyler Boyd's gone. T. Higgins wants to be traded. They franchise tagged him. So that either means they're going to trade him or they're going to give him a long-term contract, in my opinion. Or he plays on the franchise tag and then he's gone after this year. So, as early as 2024, he could be potentially the wide receiver 2. But by 2025, I think he has a good chance of being the wide receiver 2 for the Bengals, and I'll take that. I will take that. Next up, I'm going to take another running back here, Blake Corum. Blake Corum, I'm not the biggest fan of, I'll be honest, but I do have to recognize he's going to go high in this draft. He's going to go in the second or third round. He goes 92nd overall to the Buccaneers. So, not the greatest landing spot. Rachaad White's obviously there. Maybe they emphasize running it a little bit more. I'm just kind of like meh with that landing spot, but so much can change with running backs like year to year. So I'll take a shot. He was a third round pick. He's shown that he can carry the workload. So maybe I need to be a little bit higher on Blake Corum. I don't know. And I'm going to take another quarterback here. I'm going to take a shot at another quarterback, Spencer Rattler, who has all the arm talent you would want in a quarterback. He has if there's anyone outside of the top 6 guys, quarterbacks taken, that's going to is going to become a starting quarterback, it's Spencer Rattler. He has all the arm talent. He came out of high school as like the number one recruit, or he was a top recruit coming out of high school. He was expected to be like the number 1 draft pick for a few years ago, whenever he was going to come out. That fell off. He got replaced by Caleb Williams. Went to South Carolina, and I think a lot of people just have a negative opinion of him because they saw him on the Netflix show. I forget the name of it, but the next Netflix show, and it's like, yeah, the dude was like a 17-year-old kid. Like everyone is kind of an idiot when they're 17 years old, right? Are we going to judge him now? He's matured, in my opinion. He goes to the Falcons, and there's a couple reasons why I like this. I'm going to be very intrigued about where Spencer Rattler goes. If he goes to a team that I think is good at developing quarterbacks, I'm going to be interested in it. The Falcons, to me, are going to be one of those teams. I don't know for sure. I think they're going to be one of those teams with Zach Robinson coming from the Rams system. He's their offensive coordinator. I trust Zach Robinson, and I trust him to develop quarterbacks. Spencer Rattler can sit for a year or even 2 years. Kirk Cousins' contract, I think, is 4 years, but it's really like 2 years. Also, you got to remember, Kirk Cousins is, 36 years old? He's coming off an Achilles injury. So there's always concern about, potentially re-injuring leg stuff. Is he the same type of player? He probably will be. He'll probably be the starting quarterback for the Falcons for the next 2 years. But then, Spencer Rattler could get a couple years of sitting behind Kirk Cousins, which I think is perfect for him. He needs to sit for a couple years, learn the system, and we'll see. We will see in 2026 what he is. If I can get a starting quarterback in the third round in any Dynasty rookie mock draft, I'm taking it. So I'll take a chance there on Spencer Rattler. Next up, I'm going to go with, we're getting deeper now. Like these are all kind of dart throws at this point. I'm kind of trying to base it off this mock draft only players because, you don't know where anyone else is going in this world we're living in. I'm going to take Jermaine Burton here. He goes 84th overall to the Steelers. I think it's a decent landing spot. Now, the question with Jermaine Burton is what kind of player is he? Is he strictly a deep threat guy because that's what he was at Alabama? Or can he develop into more? I wish I could tell you. I wish I had an 8-ball or a crystal ball. But he was highly productive his last year. He was always decently productive every year at college. He went to Georgia for his first 2 years and then Alabama. And he was always right around 15% of his team's production. And then he kind of exploded in his last year at college. He accounted for 34% of Alabama's passing offense. He has a good, pretty good speed at 4.45, good vertical and broad jump, a good 10-yard split. He has good underlying numbers, in my opinion. Now, the question is he just a deep threat or not? And if he is, he's probably not going to be too fantasy relevant. If he can develop into more, good. He's in a decent spot for that. He could be the wide receiver 2 for the Steelers heading into the year. Who knows? So I'll take a chance there on Jermaine Burton. And I will also, there's a guy who was drafted earlier in the third round that I'm just not really a fan of. I think he's better off being a tight end, in my opinion. Johnny Wilson out of FSU goes to the Commanders, 67th overall. not a terrible spot. You get Drake May there, so you get your rookie quarterback. Johnny Wilson probably doesn't do much his first year, but also, Terry McLaurin's getting older. Jahan Dotson, we still don't really know what he is. He's a former first-round pick who's flashed, but obviously was very disappointing last year. There's a path for him to be the number 2 player here. There's also a path for them to just change him to tight end, which I think might be better for him to do right away. He's just huge. The guy's like 6. He's the tallest, I think, ever non-offensive lineman to measure at the combine. So if he turns into a tight end, and this is a tight end premium league, that's awesome. So I'll take a chance at him, though. You still got to recognize he's a 3rd-round pick. There's 2 receivers here. Brendan Rice, I'll take a chance here on Brendan Rice in the 3rd round. Again, these are kind of dart throws. We're getting late in these Dynasty rookie drafts. Not all these guys are going to pan out. Brendan Rice does have some things that intrigue you with his profile. He was decently productive at USC last year with Caleb Williams. Obviously, his father, Jerry Rice, you got the lineage there. Now, does that mean he's going to be good? No, but at least he's going to have good work ethic. He goes 82nd overall to the Colts. I think that's a decent spot for him. There's a path for him to be the wide receiver 2 behind Michael Pittman. We got the last 4 picks here, guys. There's a wide receiver taken. I'm just going to throw him out there, maybe because he was in this mock draft. Anais Smith goes to the Cowboys. He's drafted 87th overall. He's another guy kind of like Baker. Sorry, Javon Baker. I was just kind of like, yeah, fine. He's fine. Didn't really think much of him. Maybe I'll go back and look at him, make sure I'm not missing anything there. Don't have a whole lot to give you there, but he goes 87th overall to the Cowboys. A path, again, there is a path for him to be the wide receiver 2. He's going to get the opportunity, is what I should say. The opportunity. There's no clear-cut number 2 there. I know Brandon Cooks is still there, but Cooks is a little bit older. Gallup's gone. They didn't bring anyone in. He's going to get a chance to at least to compete for the 2nd wide receiver spot. So, and then to finish up here, there is one more player that I'm not going to draft on this PFF mock draft. It was Eric All, tight end. I'll be completely honest with you. I haven't scouted him. I've only scouted about 5 or 6 tight ends, so I don't want to really draft him. I know nothing about him. Absolutely nothing. I don't even know what school he went to be honest. Eric All, let's see. Oh, he was the Iowa. That's right. I do remember that now. Obviously, tight end U. I'll look into him. If I like what I see, then I'll definitely be happy taking him here in a tight end premium league. But I'm not going to take him. I'm going to just highlight a couple guys that I really, really like. Marshawn Lloyd is maybe potentially my running back. He's in that tier 1 to me. That could be the best running back. He's there with Brooks, with Benson, him, Marshawn Lloyd. Also, another running back here, Jalen Wright out of Tennessee. Both these guys to me are in that tier 1 of running backs. Now, draft capital is going to matter. If they go in the 5th round, that's going to knock them down. As of right now, it's March 23rd. I have them as in my tier 1 of running backs, to be honest. And then just kind of looking down the list here, making sure I didn't miss any receivers that I really, really like. I didn't. I'll go with Braylon Allen here. I also like Bucky Irving, who I was kind of thinking about. I'll go with Braylon Allen. I think he obviously has the size to develop into a workhorse running back. A little concerning that he kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? He kind of regressed a little bit from 2022 to 2023. Still obviously really good. Didn't participate in the combine. I need to look up and see if they had their pro day or not. I'm curious to see what he runs in terms of the 40-yard time. But again, if you're gonna this guy has as good of a chance as anyone else to be a complete dominant workhorse running back because he's 6'1", he's 235. He's projected to run in the low 4.4s, but that's not official. If he does that, that's really nice. Depends on where he goes. But there you have it, guys. A 3-round Dynasty rookie mock draft. A lot of talking there. Let me know what you think, what you agree with or disagree with. We're getting closer to Dynasty rookie mock draft, so we're going to be putting out a lot of these. As always, like and subscribe to the channel, and we will catch you all